We all want more freedom, and a lot of us work hard now in the hope we'll feel free later. What if there was another way? A way to feel happier, more free, and confident to get better results right now. Welcome to Your Freedom Unlimited, where we share practical stories and strategies to help you show up authentically, drop your fears, and take inspired action on what matters most to you. I'm your host, Jen Ramsey. As a coach with a love for metaphysics, science, spirituality, and strategies that get results, I'll help you step away from self-doubt and create a powerful new story for your life, business, or career. Join me. What would freedom look like for you this year? What in your heart of hearts would help you feel more free, more happy, and more joyful in 2021? Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Freedom Unlimited with me, Jen Ramsey. This is the third and final episode in our series on setting intentions for 2021. This week, we're focusing on freedom. Why? Well, this podcast is called Your Freedom Unlimited for a reason, because I think freedom is really, really important. And I'm really curious to know what freedom would look like for you this year. Often when we hear the word freedom, we think about holidays or time out or something we might have when we retire. But what I'm interested in is what freedom looks like for you this year in your daily life. Without thinking about retirement, without thinking about a holiday, what would freedom in your everyday look like? When I'm asking you about freedom, I'm talking about freedom at every level in your life. I'm talking about freedom within your own mind in terms of how you're thinking and feeling about yourself. I'm talking about freedom with the time you have to do some of the things that you feel are most important to you. And I'm talking about feeling you have the freedom to make a difference somewhere, maybe for someone in your family, someone in your community, or someone or a community across the planet. I asked myself this question quite some years ago, and I continue to ask myself this question every single year. When I first asked myself this question about 7 years ago, I'd been in what I realize now was a very dark place. I knew then in my heart of hearts that I really needed to change things if I was going to live the life I truly felt I wanted. I was in a pretty black spot. Back then, I realized that anxiety really had me by the throat. It had kept me small, locked down, and very fearful. I wasn't making decisions to live. I was rather making decisions to survive and stay safe. And I was certainly no longer living my dreams. Anxiety was running the show, and it really wasn't pretty. It was impacting every single area of my life. So when I got to this point, it was then that I really started thinking about, well, what else could I do? And it was then that I first asked myself this question. What do I need to do to feel more free within myself and in my mind? I realized that my thoughts and my emotions were running my show. So I asked myself, how can I feel more safe and secure within myself? How can I stop this incessant need to manage and control the outside conditions all the time so that I can feel safe? How can I feel more free? And these questions led me on a really deep journey of understanding and quite a path of growth where I really have come to understand the energetic and divine nature of all things. So on this journey, I realized three things. Three really, really powerful things that have made all the difference to my life and have really helped me find freedom in my life. The first one is that I realized instead of being separate and alone and trying to make my way in a very difficult world, I realized that I am supported and I am a part of Source, the great all that is. I also realized that as a part of Source, I truly am the creator of my reality. I am not a victim of circumstances, and I don't need to see myself that way. And finally, I realized that there are ultimately two choices that we have in life. We can choose to focus on fear, or we can choose to focus on love. These realizations were big game changers for me. I also realized the truth of quantum physics, that what I focus on is what I get. This really started to put the power back into my hands and helped and showed me that if I took responsibility for my focus and my emotional frequency every single day, then I could have a vastly different experience of my life. And so I did, bit by bit and little by little, I created my own freedom within. And everything, and I mean everything in my life, took a turn for the better. And it's really important for me to tell you here that I didn't have to burn down my old life to create this new freedom in my life. There was no sort of dramatic changing of everything in my life. This was very much an internal revolution. On the outside, things predominantly stayed the same, but my experience of my life was completely different. The things that I had to burn down were a set of beliefs that no longer served me and habitual negative thoughts and emotions that I knew no longer supported me. So, what is different now? Well, my personal relationships are far deeper and far stronger. I really know what love is now. I'm much healthier overall in my body, my immunity is stronger, and I'm fitter and stronger within myself. And my business is doing really well. It's completely expanded. And I'm doing more of the things that I love and doing the things that really fill me up. And I have a consistent daily spiritual practice that brings so much more to my life. So for me, freedom in my everyday is really about, it is about how I've changed the way I feel about myself and about the world around me, how I'm thinking and feeling about me and about how I'm approaching my relationships, my family, my business, my work, everything. And I need to say, I'm still very much a work in progress, but I do feel so much more free in my mind and so much more of my own person. And my life changed because I asked myself these questions, and I'm so grateful for asking these questions. And that's one of the main reasons that I'm doing this podcast now. I wanted to share with you what I've learned about freedom and how I've been able to really do this for myself. I'm no longer living or coming from a fear-based perspective in my life. I'm living my life from the perspective of love and the fact that I'm the leader of my life and that I get to create my own reality every day with the thoughts that I think and the things that I do and the people that I surround myself. This also means that I'm not buying into all of the stories in our society and in the media and all of the fear-based stuff that comes our way every single day. I really have had to choose what I focus on and, the things that I do and the media that I even focus on. So I have really reinvented the way I approach my life, and this has given me freedom within my heart, freedom within my mind, and freedom within myself. And that's what I really wish for you this coming year. So to help with that, I'm sharing with you my annual review ritual called Your New Year Revolution. This is a revolution. It's a different way and a different approach of approaching developing New Year's resolutions, because New Year's resolutions done the traditional way just don't work. The research definitely shows that. But this super simple ritual that I want to share with you will really help you review 2020. It'll help you set intentions and get into the zone for 2021. If you've been listening to this podcast recently, you'll have heard me talk about it. And this is really a review process and New Year's resolutions with a difference. It's a little bit like changing the lens of your camera. You'll be changing the lens of the way you look back at what happened in 2020. Instead of focusing on what didn't work, my process has 4 simple steps to help you focus on what did work in 2020 and to help you plan your most amazing year ever. So in episode 38 and 40 of this podcast, I covered step number 1, which is the review, and step number 2, setting intentions. So those are the first 2 steps of my process. In this episode, I'm covering step 3, what do you truly want, and step 4, getting into the energetic zone. To access my little ritual, all you need to do is visit jenramsey.com/revolution. It's free and available for you right now. So, back to the question that I asked you at the beginning of this podcast. What does freedom in 2021 look like for you? I know 2020 was a huge year for everybody, and everything that came down the line last year was huge. So maybe you do want to make a complete change. But the key here is to make sure that you are doing what you truly want this year. So, what do you truly want in 2021? It could be that you want to do something completely different. Maybe you want to make a major change in your life, in your business or your job or your relationships. Maybe you want to make a big change in your health. Or maybe you want to deepen and expand into what you already have. So just take a moment now. I'd just like you to close your eyes if you're not driving, listening to this podcast. So take a moment, close your eyes, and take your mind forward to the end of 2021. So let's go to the 31st of December 2021. Imagine where you are. Close your eyes, take a moment, and take a breath. And look back over 2021. What happened in this year that made your heart truly sing? What things did you do? What people were you with? Who were you being? Is there one thing that you did, or maybe a few things? But what would truly make the difference to you? Let's take another breath in and come back to the space that you're in. So, to give you an example of some of the things that I truly wanted to do in 2020, one of the things that I truly wanted to do was my yoga teacher training, and I'd wanted to do it for a very long time. And in 2020, I made the decision to do it. It was a very long-held dream of mine, and with the COVID-19 lockdown, it was the right time for me. What was interesting was that initially I didn't get support from some people closest to me to do that training, but I went inside and I realized it was something that I knew I really wanted to do for myself. I knew it would deepen my connection with myself, that it would expand my knowledge and my relationship with yoga, and it would connect me with the community, and it did all of those things and so much more. So to make that decision, I needed to go deep inside to think about what would truly make my heart sing. The other thing that I wanted to say about step number 3 is that it doesn't have to be about changing your entire life. Perhaps 2021 for you is about doing one thing that you really want to do alongside your other family, business, or work commitments. So, what would make your heart sing? What is one thing close to your heart that would make all the difference if you gave it a go this year? This now brings me to step number 4 of my New Year revolution process, getting into the frequency zone. So this step is all about who you need to be energetically to bring your intentions to life in the world. So this is another part of the revolution because, again, I'm asking you to look at things differently. It's about who you're being. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, when we look at the energetic nature of things, we know it's actually who we're being that will make all the difference to our outcomes. Just think for a moment. If you some of those mornings when you get up, you might not have had a great sleep, and you're not feeling great when you get out of bed, and then something happens, and then the day just doesn't get off to a great start. I think there's that saying, you got out of the wrong side of the bed, and that's really what I'm talking about here. It's about choosing your energy, understanding what your energy is. So sometimes we can have a bad night's sleep. I know I've had them, and we can wake up feeling grumpy and not ourselves, and then the day just doesn't seem to go that well. And really that's about who we're being rather than anything that's actually happening in our world. It's just that feeling that we've had when we've woken up, perhaps not feeling so great. What I've also noticed is that in this energetic space is really, really important for what we do achieve in our lives. So, for example, if I go back and think back to all of those years ago when I really was not in a great space, I was feeling, really very down and that I had lost my purpose and my way in life and feeling quite a victim to my circumstances. If I'd stayed in that space, focused on what was going wrong in my life, there's no way I would be where I am right now. Absolutely no way. I had to choose a new story and a new way of being every single day to get to where I am now. And when I chose that new story and lived that new story every day, everything did change. And let me tell you, if I can do it, you can certainly do it too. So step number 4 is really part of this revolution on New Year's resolutions. Why? Because instead of slavishly focusing on the action steps you have to take to make your 2021 intentions happen, this step is really about focusing on who you are being. Who do you need to be to make what you want to have happen this year? This is a different approach. This step is really about getting into the frequency design of who you are or who you want to be so you can bring your intentions to life in 2021. So my question to you is, what energetic frequency do you need to hold to create those things that you want in your life? Do you need to be more caring or loving to yourself or others? Do you need to drop control of some things in your life? Do you need to drop some judgment of yourself or others? So just who do you need to be to make what you want to have happen, happen? I know this is a really complex topic and could possibly be new to you, and it's certainly something that I coach people on in terms of how to create this new story and how to really tap into the energetic frequency that serves them best. So if you'd like some help with this, feel free to email me at hello@jenramsey.com and we can have a chat about that there. What I did want to share with you today, though, is a very simple energetic shift that I know will make all of the difference. This is simple yet very profound. And the shift I'm talking about is to move from letting the frequency of fear run your life to allowing the frequency of love to be your predominant emotional frequency. This is really about coming from a place of love rather than fear, coming from a place of flow rather than a place of control, and coming from a place of expansion rather than contraction. Because when we are in that frequency of love, flow, and expansion rather than fear, control, and contraction, everything has to change energetically. Quantum physics, which Dr. Bruce Lipton says is the most tested and verified science on the planet, says it must be so. And I know it's certainly been my experience and the experience of those I've coached and others that I know. So when you're in the frequency of love, everything can change. So, as ever, on Your Freedom Unlimited, it is now over to you. I know 2020 was a challenging year for many people. So, why not choose the year you want for 2021? Yes, there might still be some challenges this year, but if we know what we know about choosing our perspective, we can make this year a year of freedom if that's what we choose. So to help you, I'd love you to get access to my simple 4-step New Year's resolution revolution process at jenramsey.com/revolution. It's a really simple worksheet that you could use at any time of the year. I just find the turning of the new year is always a good time to go through this process. And it is a very simple process. All you need is an hour or two, a cup of tea, and a quiet space. You'll be amazed at what the process of reflection and journaling can do for you. I know some of the questions that I've asked in this have really helped me think and go more deeply into understanding what worked for me in 2020 and what I want to create more of in 2021. So I really encourage you to grab that worksheet. It's completely free and have a lot of fun with it. Because when you use it, you can really set yourself up for an amazing 2021. And that's what I wish for you more than anything, is to have the best year possible this coming year. For you to be in the driver's seat of your life where you are intending and focusing on things that will truly bring you happiness. Because when you're living from that perspective, it is incredible and you'll be amazed at the results that you can get. As I said earlier, if you need any help with any of this, feel free to email me at hello@jenramsey.com. And until we speak again, wherever you are in this world, I'm sending you lots of love for a fantastic year ahead. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll look forward to talking to you very soon. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Your Freedom Unlimited. If you like this show, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and review Your Freedom Unlimited on your favourite podcast player. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach me directly at jenramsey.com. Thanks for listening.